Hey everyone, it's Luke here, and I'm just recording a little bit early before the intro, and I just wanted to tell you that this podcast was pre-recorded. We recorded this a week in advance because I am out of town currently, so our predictions are still fairly there, but there have been some changes in the NFL, obviously. The Chargers suffered a pretty bad injury with their cornerback, Jason Verrett. Then you also have a lot of other injuries, including Tennessee starting safety Jonathan Seiferin going out with a torn ACL. You have the Packers linebacker Jake Ryan going out, Panthers running back Fozzie Whitaker, and there's just a lot of other injuries that are going on in the NFL. So I don't think this necessarily changes our predictions. Maybe the Titans safety does, but their secondary always kind of struggled as a fan of the Titans. But just wanted to let you guys know that this was pre-recorded. Hope you enjoy Pat and myself's conversation. There are a couple parts where Pat's audio gets a little staticky. That's something we're trying to work out, but hopefully you can work your way through it and it will be okay. So without further ado, enjoy the podcast and we will talk to you next week. See ya. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the P&L IRL Podcast. As always, I am your host, Luke, and joining me this week, my co-host, Pat.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone, indeed. And this week, we are switching gears. Last week, we talked a little bit about video games and the role of them as you grow up, as you get a little bit older, mature, and things start changing in your life. And I think this week, we're going to talk about some changes, too, because this week, we're talking about change in the NFL. We're talking sports this week, and specifically changes in what we think the final standings could be. So this podcast, you will get our 2018 NFL predictions. And Pat, we need to insert a disclaimer here.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I consider myself, and I know Luke does too, a jack of all trades and a master of none. Okay, we watch football. We enjoy football. I know most of the players on a lot of teams, but I have no expertise. I don't follow every tweet. I don't follow every news article on every website. We will be very, very wrong, but this is something fun for us. We hope it's fun for you. It's like two average dudes just talking football, picking teams to win. We don't get paid to do this. So let's just have some fun, Luke.
To give context to what Pat just said, I once won my fantasy football league when I was 13 years old and had no idea about any of the players and didn't know anything. And now that I'm older and I overanalyze things and I think I know everything about football, even though, again, I'm just an average Joe, like Pat said, I am so far off in fantasy. I haven't won in years, fantasy football. Don't play for money, but haven't won just in fun leagues that I play with friends for years. And like Pat said, I even try. I'm a big Titans fan, so you can probably guess where I'm going in the AFC South. Pat, you're a big Colts fan.
I am, man. I think we should actually start this show with just a little bit of news from other sports.
Let's do it.
All right. So, Luke, help me out. We talked about a couple days ago a stat on Joey Votto. We mentioned it in the first podcast as well. But if I remember correctly, Joey Votto has never popped up to the pitcher, first baseman, or catcher, right?
That's correct. Yeah, you sent me that. I think it was a meme or someone, maybe some social media site. If we find it, we'll give credit to it. But it was a meme about Joey Votto and his hitting statistics. Pat, that is mind-boggling. I know you, as a former baseball player, myself currently in my roles as a coach, in many ways, that just blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I went to a local baseball game here a week or so ago, and it happened like 4 times in the game. So it's just unbelievable to me. And he's actually, I don't think ever even had a season where he's popped up to an infielder more than once. I mean, he either, long fly ball, a hit, strikeout, but never simple, short infield pop-ups. It's crazy.
That's the same, man. He either just, he sends the ball, he nails it, or he just,
I mean, and I would wonder, too, to look at his strikeout statistics. That's not something I have pulled up, but I would love to see Joey Votto's strikeout statistics as well, compared to his plate appearances, and just see where he falls in there. I think, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I understand, Joey Votto is a pretty consistent hitter, so I don't imagine, his strikeouts are by any stretch like up there or any, nothing, that a typical MLB player would be. And goodness gracious, context to that, hitting a baseball, I don't know about you, Pat, but I feel like hitting a baseball is the single hardest thing to do in any sport.
No, I absolutely agree. A high inside 98-mile-an-hour fastball, I mean, most human beings on the planet are never hitting that.
Yeah, they you can watch like the sports science on ESPN and stuff. They do that, and it's like your brain doesn't even process that fast. But these batters literally have to make a decision like as the ball is in the pitcher's hand, getting ready to leave, if they're going to swing or not. And they somehow know most of the time if it's going to be a strike or if it's going to be out and away, and what they're going to do with it and how to get their body around on the pitch. It's just mind-boggling to me. I can't. I mean, basketball is an exceptionally hard sport. Football is an exceptionally grueling sport, and I know football with concussions and things like that have gone under some strict scrutiny in recent years. But goodness gracious, baseball, America's pastime, there is something to be said, and that's something when I coach my baseball team, people say, oh, baseball's kind of boring. It's like, look, you don't get much more intense than you stay. I mean, it's very rare. I mean, you may get one-on-one ISO in basketball, or you may get that wide receiver going up against the cornerback who gets open on a route, and it's just those two. But outside of a pitcher staring down a batter and a batter staring right back, there's not a lot more one-on-one in sports than that feeling.
No, absolutely. And switching gears a little bit here, the NBA, we have some obvious big news.
Oh, yeah.
LeBron to the Lakers.
Yep. Yeah, a little bit late on that one, but yeah, that is big news. Definitely big news.
We're a little late. We weren't doing our podcast about sports when it was relevant.
No, but hey, it happens.
Let's see. We have more recently Kawhi Leonard, DeMar DeRozan trade. I'm going to be honest, I don't fully understand both sides of that trade. I mean, they're both incredible players. Toronto had an incredible year. And the recent news from DeMar DeRozan's camp, he was genuinely shocked, and he's also genuinely upset about it.
Yeah, I think that is, like you said, a trade that made zero sense. Everything I had heard was that Kawhi had wanted to play for the Lakers, and I could be wrong there. I mean, but just the like you said, the amateur sports fan that I am, following these on social media and Twitter, the limited amount that I do, I had seen Kawhi wanted to go to the Lakers and play with LeBron, and now all of a sudden he's in Toronto, and now there's this question of, is he going to sit out the season? Is he not? Is he going to play? Is he not? That just, to me, reeks of bad blood between Kawhi and the Spurs, and then just, I mean, from the Toronto Raptors point of view, man, sending your big star DeRozan and just kind of, from everything I'm hearing about him, it's just kind of shocked him, like you said, out of the blue. That's pretty harsh from both teams, I think.
Yeah, I'm never going to fully understand it. There's a lot of people out there that are smarter than me. I'm sure they could give me a full history lesson on it.
Well, and I know I had seen a couple memes on like Toronto fans, like instead of the classic burning the jersey when someone you love leaves, instead of that they wrote like notes on paper and they put it over DeRozan's jersey and they were like, "Thank you, DeRozan. We know this wasn't you." Like, that's pretty bad if your fan base is like, whoa, what happened here? Like, this guy was the face of our franchise and now he's just up and gone, and the fans not loving it either. It sounds like in many ways. It doesn't sound like anybody's really happy about that one.
Yeah, and I think the last bit of news we can talk about here on the NBA, two things. One, Kevin Love staying with the Cavs.
Big money.
Pretty good contract there. Dwayne Wade has been offered a 3-year contract to play in China.
Oh, yeah.
For $25 million.
Hey, I say for D. Wade in the twilight of your career, hey, man, go for it. I mean, not to say D. Wade has lost a step, because, I mean, still arguably a great basketball player. Leads the Miami Heat in nearly every statistical category. The dude is, I mean, just unreal. But I think, this late in your career, hey, take the last train out of Miami, have a good season, and then just go to China, get paid, and hey, why not enjoy some basketball over there?
Hey, we'll see what happens. But actually, Pat Riley has come out from the Heat saying that he actually wants Dwayne Wade back. So he may make less money, but I have a feeling he's going to find a team here pretty soon in the United States.
Yeah, I think it would be hard for D Wade to leave Miami not in his best way. He wants to definitely leave that city in a positive way, and honestly probably leave the NBA in a good way. I think all players want to leave a positive mark and exit the way they want on their terms. So, and D Wade's got that power. He's got that control. If he's got an owner that wants him there, he's definitely got the potential there to go either way.
Yeah, and by the time this podcast actually airs, we will have some answers because July 1st is when free agency began. Mm-hmm. When does free agency end? I think it's here relatively soon, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty soon. I don't know the exact date. Again, amateur sports. Amateur sports fans here looking it up real quick. When does NBA start? The key dates here from hoopsrumors.com. Looks like the official start is July 1st. And the last day for teams to waive players is August 31st. July moratorium begins. They can officially begin signing players July 6th. But it looks like the 15th. Somewhere around there in the... Yeah. Somewhere in July. Let's go with that.
Let's get back to the NFL. So, Luke, I know we're talking predictions. We have a little bit of our own information here that we've prepared.
Yep.
I say we just run through some of the divisions.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll go from there. So let's start with the AFC. And let's start in the North. Who do you got?
Sure. Those of you not aware, in the AFC North, the 4 teams in that division, we got the Steelers, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns. And my projection for that division is Steelers winning the division, followed by the Bengals, the Ravens, and then the Browns in last place. And that is not just because the Browns are historically in last place for the last decade. There are reasons. So I got the Steelers in the North winning just because they still have Big Ben. I know he's getting to the twilight of his career, but he's still Big Ben. Antonio Brown is on the Madden cover, so he's got a lot of hype to live up to. Le'Veon Bell is back and better than ever, and their offensive line is still very talented. Their defense isn't what it once was. They don't have that ferocity I think that they had when they had Troy Polamalu, but they're still Pittsburgh. I mean, it's not the steel curtain that it used to be, but it's still a solid defense. Bengals, I like their offensive weapons. A.J. Green, I really love their running back and what he's doing, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. Younger guy. Andy Dalton, can Andy Dalton be successful? And can their defense be successful?
No.
For all of them, I just feel like they're mediocre. Same thing with the Ravens. Like, if I had to describe the Ravens and the Bengals as a flavor of ice cream, it would be vanilla. It's just like, what do you got? With the Ravens, they're in a quarterback controversy. Is Joe Flacco your guy? You just drafted Jackson. Is their defense as hype as it once was with players like Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs? Again, just kind of mediocre there. And then the Browns, people may have them higher if you buy the hype. They have a lot of really good receivers. Landry just signed with them. There's talks of Dez Bryant wanting to work with the Browns. Questions at quarterback, though. Is Tyrod Taylor, they brought him in. Does Gordon stay out of trouble, keep his nose clean? And then Baker Mayfield, they drafted Baker Mayfield, so the dude, they want him to play. Do you buy the Baker Mayfield hype? I don't. He's a good player in college at Oklahoma, but we've seen players sometimes struggle transitioning to the pros, to the NFL. And I just don't buy Baker Mayfield. Not a big fan of just his attitude and a lot of his off-the-field antics. Not to say he's done anything illegal, but just the way he's kind of conducted himself on the field sometimes. Not a big fan of the Browns. I'm not buying the youth hype. I'm just not seeing it. What do you think, Pat, about the AFC North?
Yeah, so I'm going to stick to our predetermined format here. We'll have one of us talk about the division and the other get a 10-second rebuttal.
Sure.
So I think the Steelers for sure. There's no question. You say Le'Veon's back and better than ever. I don't know. He's in a bad mood. He didn't get a huge contract like he wanted.
That's true.
I don't know. We'll see. There's been shady rumors about him sitting out. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure. We were talking about it at work the other day. I have the first pick in the draft this season. Should I take Le'Veon Bell? And we were all like, probably, but I hope he plays if you do. Yeah, Bengals, Ravens, they're unexcited. I'm going to buy into the Browns hype a little bit.
Okay.
I like their confidence. I think that's an important key aspect of any NFL team is to have that confidence. So assuming they can figure out a reasonable quarterback, because they do have options, basically.
They do.
None of them are superstars. So we'll see what happens there. But I think they're going to be probably third in that division once the season's over.
Nice.
All right, so AFC West.
This is your
I'll
division.
Take the front horse of this one.
Yeah.
The AFC West, I think the Raiders come out of that division on top.
Okay.
I think the Chargers are right there. If nothing else, they're probably they're for sure a wild card team. The Chiefs and the Broncos will do well, but I don't know if they're going to do well enough. We'll see. So here's why I think the Raiders. The Raiders, I loved them before Derek Carr went out. So Derek Carr broke his leg. They were killing it though. Mm-hmm. So I think they come back, new coach, getting excited for their new stadium, their move to Las Vegas. I don't know. I think it's going to go well. The Chargers, though, if they're not going to give them a run for money, their money, I don't know who is. So they do have Melvin Gordon. They have a great running back. Phillip Rivers is not the same guy he used to be, but he is still a clear starting quarterback. They do have a very talented defense. I think they're going to make really hard for their opponents, and I think that's key. The Chiefs, I expect them to be pushing for AFC titles, but I don't know what they're doing at quarterback. I don't think it was wise to get rid of Alex Smith. Been able to run the ball, but they get stuck in that. So I don't know. We'll see. The Broncos, that's not going to go well. So they're going to have a reasonable defense that's going to keep them in some games. So maybe they end up being a 4, 5, 6-win team. But at the end of the day, they're not going to be pushing for that AFC West title. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I had the Chargers winning the division, but now they've lost their Pro Bowl cornerback. He tore his Achilles just a day or two ago. So that Chargers defense that I loved before, maybe not as good without that Pro Bowl cornerback, Jason Verrett. Melvin Gordon and Rivers is always good, but Rivers always makes it, but it's like he can't quite get it done. I'll still put the Chargers at 1. I'll put the Raiders at 2. Like you said, I like Derek Carr. I wonder with new coaching, John Gruden, does that help or hurt? Dude got paid to be their coach. And you kind of already see some people butting heads with him. Jordy Nelson, I feel like, is kind of in the twilight of his career, so I don't know that picking him up was that great, but they do still have Cooper. They have beast mode, and Khalil Mack on that defense is terrifying. I would actually I would bump the Broncos over the Chiefs, so I'm going Chargers winning the division, Raiders, Broncos, and then Chiefs. Broncos defense is still there. Case Keenum's unproven, but I like him. He did well in Minnesota. Von Miller is still a beast, and Bradley Chubb is terrifying. So I'm going to give the Broncos the nod here. I think if their receivers step up, they can be really good. And then the Chiefs, Pat Mahomes, with no more Alex Smith, I just don't know what the Chiefs are doing. This can be a tough division. I think all 4 of these teams are definitely good. They have great receivers. The Chiefs have Kareem Hunt, Sammy Watkins. I don't think Sammy Watkins was worth it, personally. So again, I'm going Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, Chiefs. And I actually have the Raiders making it to the wild card. They're one of my 2 wild card teams. So let's move in to the best division in football. That, of course, as we all know and love, is the AFC South, also known as the former laughingstock of the NFL and now the best division in football. This year, Pat, what are you thinking for the AFC South?
AFC South. I think I'm excited. Andrew Luck's back, saying he's feeling better than he has in years. Given everything he's been through, he certainly can't feel any worse than he has in the last year. So we'll see how that goes. There's certainly going to be some rust to get rid of. The offensive line is going to be a question until further notice. We'll see how the season goes. We have a lot of new people in place. We drafted some linemen. This is a good time for us to start seeing the difference between our GMs. We have a new coach from the Eagles, their offensive coordinator, so it could be a decent year, but I don't think the Colts have any chance of winning the division. So I think when it comes down to who's going to win this division, it's going to be the Jags, with the Titans probably being a close second, in all honesty. So I do think that Deshaun Watson, after coming out of a partial season from his injury, is going to suffer a little bit of a sophomore slump. I don't think he's going to be quite the incredible player we saw, but he's going to do well. The Jags, I don't think there's any chance the Jags don't win this division by a healthy number of games. They blew people away in their performance last year. They haven't changed drastically year over year by any definition. So their defense is obviously going to still be incredible for the most part. There's a lot more film to watch, so I think offenses are going to have a little more success than they have in the past, which means the offense of the Jags is going to have to probably step it up from where they were, and I think they have the chance to do that. I don't know if Blake Bortles is the guy or not, but we'll find out here real soon. Fournette's still going to be solid. He's not Le'Veon Bell or Todd Gurley good, but he's going to hold his own. The Texans, as you said, Deshaun Watson, I think he's going to struggle a little bit second year. Their defense is still going to be solid. They're going to have a good year, not a great year. The Titans, there's a lot of questions there, but if everything works well, they actually could have a very solid year. And I know you can talk a lot more about the Titans. So what are you thinking about the AFC South?
Yeah, the AFC South, I'm giving the nod to the Jags. Like you said, the Jags didn't change much. The only thing, like you said, the question mark for them is quarterback. Can Blake Bortles cut it? I think he can. I think he improves quite a bit this year, and the Jags take the division. Tennessee Titans are coming in second for me. They're also my second wild card team out of the AFC. I like the Titans, but there's so many what ifs. Like you said, does Mariota stay healthy? Their offensive line is very strong. Taylor Lewan just signed a huge 5-year deal with Tennessee. He's a great lineman. He's going to keep Mariota protected. But the question is does Mariota stay healthy? Do we do well under the guidance of new head coach Vrabel? Vrabel is from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, and if you follow football, Belichick coaching tree coaches don't have a ton of success, especially not against him. But I like Vrabel. I think one of his big components with moving to Tennessee was that he was going to be a leader of men. I really like that. Tennessee's got questions at wideout. They've got the best running back combo in the NFL. I'm sorry, but they do. Derrick Henry is a beast. And Lewis back there coming over from New England. Deion Lewis, that's a great running back core. Their defense has improved. They've got Logan Ryan and some terrifying linebackers. And is Malcolm Butler the real deal? I think he is. I think Tennessee's defense is a lot better. And I think Tennessee's got a good shot to go number 2 and win this division, or be number 2 in this division, make the wild card. But, like you said, the Texans are still there at 3. They got Watson. He's great if he comes back. J.J. Watt's return, arguably the greatest human being in football based on all he did to support the NFL. The running back, is Lamar Miller the answer? I don't know. Their defense is still great, so I'm going to put them at a close 3. Right there with Tennessee. They could flip with Tennessee pretty easy. And look, I'm putting the Colts in the cellar. That's just me. I'm a Titans fan. I don't believe in luck. I'll believe it when I see it. If Luck comes back and he is as good, then I'll believe it. But until I see it, I don't see it. I don't see any help in the secondary. That's a notoriously bad secondary. I don't see them doing... They did draft a lineman to help protect Luck, but I don't know that that's enough. Their running back is Marlon Mack. Again, I've not seen a ton there, and their defense is still bad, plus dealing with the new coach. At least Tennessee, for me, has a more established defense, whereas the Colts, they just don't have that. So, I do think the Colts will win more than 2 or 3 games. I think they could be a 6-win team. But I think they stay in the cellar in an AFC South that is really, really competitive this year.
Yep, I agree. So why don't you take us through your AFC East picks.
I mean, is there any team in the AFC East other than the Patriots? I mean,
Nope, we might as well move on to the
moving
NFC.
on. No, we'll talk for just a second. I mean, we got the Patriots. I got the Patriots at number 1, winning the division, followed by the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins. Patriots still got Brady. They still got Belichick. I mean, you could take a guy off the street and Brady could take me or you and make us into a receiver somehow. It doesn't matter who he's got a receiver, but he's got Gronk at tight end still. They might have some running back questions with the departure of Lewis to Tennessee. Their defense is still their defense. It's nothing to write home about, but it gets the job done. I got the Patriots winning the division, the Jets in second, the Bills in third, and the Dolphins in fourth. You could toss any of those in a bag and pull out a coin, and whatever one comes out is wherever you put them. I'll put the Jets second just because we don't know who their quarterback's going to be. Is it Teddy Bridgewater? Is it Josh McCown? Is it Sam Darnold? I think you don't draft Sam Darnold unless you intend to play him again. You got the departure of Revis Island. Revis Island is no more. His retirement. Their defense is still the Jets' defense, and they're a good team, so I'll put them right behind the Patriots. I don't think they're anything to write home about, though. Too many questions on offense. Bills, they also drafted a quarterback. You got Josh Allen. Dude's got a cannon, but does that translate to the NFL? And the question is wide receiver questions. Kelvin Benjamin didn't really produce for them. Shady McCoy's still there, though we know he's going through some struggles off the field as well. So I'll put the Bills at 3. And then for the Dolphins, is Ryan Tannehill healthy? Is Ryan Tannehill the one you want to be the savior of your football program? Tannehill, when he's healthy, is good. Is he great? No. But I think he could play. I think he could flip with the Bills, the Dolphins pretty easily. But you're dealing with, for the Dolphins, a kind of dysfunctional front office. You've got the loss of Landry and Sue, and Ndamukong Suh on that D-line. That's a loss, big time. And just the signing of Danny Amendola, I don't know if that's enough, and I don't know if Amendola's got much in the tank left. So going Patriots, Jets, Bills, Dolphins.
All right, so this division is by far the easiest one to talk about.
Okay.
The Patriots are going to have the best record in football.
Okay.
By 14-2, 13-3, worst case scenario. Jeez. I mean, they're going to be the best record, no doubt.
All right.
But then the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins, I don't think combined they're going to have as many wins as the Patriots does.
Woo!
Patriots. So 2 or 3, 4 wins tops per team, and it doesn't matter what order you put them in. Let's just be real. The Jets, if you don't know who your quarterback is, you have no chance. Okay, you're just not going to do well. At least not for the first 4 or 5 games. The Bills. There's nothing there. Shady McCoy probably won't even play half the season. He's a horrible human being, assuming he is found guilty. We'll find out. But the Dolphins, they have lost a bunch of people, like you said. Ryan Tannehill, I don't care if he's healthy. He's average. He was exciting a couple years ago. People liked picking him in fantasy football late in the drafts, hoping he'd put up 4,000 or 5,000 yards, and then all of a sudden they realize, but he actually can't hit a wide receiver. So I don't know. That's a messed up division that the Patriots have no problem winning for probably the next 2 or 3 years at least. So look, let's pick I don't want to get too crazy. Like I said, we're not experts by any means. I don't know who my wild card teams are. Who is your AFC Super Bowl attendee?
I'm going to take the Jags out of the AFC.
Okay, that's wrong.
Okay.
The AFC Super Bowl team will absolutely be the Patriots. There's no way Blake Bortles carries the Jags to the Super Bowl.
I like that choice. I like that as an AFC championship matchup, seeing that again. I would love to see the Jags and the Patriots play again. And I think the Jags just get the better this year. I think Brady's still Brady, but I think Brady's lost a bit. You got Brady and some tension with him and Belichick. I'm giving a nod to the Jags, so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Let's move to the NFC. The NFC, the division that we're not as savvy about, just because we're AFC fans. But let's talk about it anyway. Let's start with the NFC North. Here's my rankings. I've got the Vikings coming out of the AFC North, followed by the Packers, who are going to be one of my wildcard teams, the Lions, and then the Bears. The reasons are pretty easy. The Vikings, you trade Case Keenum for Kirk Cousins. I actually like that trade. I like swapping out Keenum for Cousins. I think Cousins is a better quarterback. I like that. They have a powerful wide receiving core. Dalvin Cook's injury last year, I thought, was honestly the end of their season, and it turns out they did really well without him still. But you got Dalvin Cook coming back. That dude was a beast, and their defense is still a nightmare. They're still just terrifying on defense. They're not purple people eater levels, but they're still very good. You got the Packers. Packers in second, being a wild card team. You still got Rodgers. Their wide receiver core is strong. Maybe some questions at running back, but their defense is still just decent, solid. Plus, I mean, I'm sorry, but very few teams can go to Lambeau and win in the cold weather. That's a big advantage for them. It's just where they play. You got the Lions next. Stafford's getting older. He's getting up there. Megatron's gone. Calvin Johnson, he's out of here. Good defense, good offense. Again, just kind of a team that is just kind of there. I mean, I don't know really what they're doing. Kind of middle of the road. And then the Bears, man, the Bears. Mitchell Trubisky. Is he the answer at quarterback? From what I saw last year, the answer is no. Wide receiver questions. Is Jordan Howard the real deal? He's had some good seasons at running back. He could,
Yes.
but can he carry them?
No.
But I do like their addition of Roquan Smith. That's a great addition to that defense. But I still just have the Bears in the cellar there. That's a decent division. Vikings, Packers, very strong team. The Lions, a middle of the road team, and the Bears. Bears will improve. They're just not as good as those other teams in their division.
Yeah, I think in this one, the Vikings and Packers both make the playoffs. The Vikings, I do agree, Kirk Cousins is the better quarterback. That's going to help their team overall, which is a team that did extremely well. And I think they've only improved overall. So I think they're going to do very well. They're going to be fine. The Packers, if Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback, there's always a chance, right?
Yeah.
So I saw a meme the other day online that said, how would you build the perfect quarterback? And it had Aaron Rodgers' arm, Aaron Rodgers' accuracy, Aaron Rodgers' brain, and Aaron Rodgers' feet. So you just take Aaron Rodgers, that's the perfect quarterback. I agree with that. I think he is incredible. I just don't think he has the same supporting cast necessarily as some of these other top tier quarterbacks do.
Sure.
I think he has more weight on his shoulders on average than Tom Brady does. They don't have a running back, so we'll see. That hurts. That only makes Aaron Rodgers' job harder. And if they're not playing well on defense, then all he's going to have to do is try to win shootouts, and that doesn't work out for anyone in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions and Bears, they're going to be fairly even.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Matthew Stafford is aging. He's still going to put up 4,000 or 5,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. He throws the long ball. He's good at it. And then the Bears, no, Trubisky's not the answer. Jordan Howard is the real deal.
Yeah.
But you have to have a decent quarterback and a decent line. You have to, for a running back to be that successful in this league, the other pieces have to be there.
Right.
And so if the defenses get to stack the box every play and just stop Jordan Howard and let Mitch Trubisky do his thing, you can't carry him. He's not even going to have a chance.
Sure.
So the Vikings come out of that on top. The Packers. For the NFC West, I'll take this one on.
Okay.
For me, this one's a easy one. I think the Rams do exceptionally well. I think they're a 12 or 13 win team. I think Jared Goff's only going to get better. They've added weapons. I believe Brandon Cooks, right? Brandon Cooks is there, so they've upped their wide receiving core. Todd Gurley just made bank, so he's not going anywhere. They have Ndamukong Suh. They have Aqib Talib, who is not the youngest player in the NFL anymore, but he's still a veteran who knows how to play cornerback for sure. So I think the Rams do very, very well this year. And that's incredible for a team who's only been in a new city for a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers, I think they definitely break 500.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're a 9 or 10 win team. I think Jimmy G will do well. And the only reason I think that, for one, Patriots backup quarterbacks tend to do very well.
That's true.
See Tom Brady. And if nothing else, he learned more than any other quarterback in the NFL last year. He was working with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick day in and day out. So as long as that dude has a brain and an arm, he'll at least be okay at a minimum. We'll see how everything else fits together on that team, though. So we'll see. The Seahawks, they're just not the same team they were. It's going to take them a while to get back at this point. Russell Wilson's just not the guy who can carry a team. He needs a running back, and he needs a defense that's really holding their own. The Cardinals, they're probably my worst team in the league. The money line I saw on them, or the odds for them to win the Super Bowl, they had the worst by far. So the Patriots were number one at 6-1. The Cardinals were the worst at 100-1.
Whew.
No one in the world expects the Cardinals to do well. So those are my picks. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you, Pat. I think this division is the Rams all the way. Like you said, everything about the Rams screams they're going back. Goff does it. They're new additions. This team is stacked. I think the Rams are the best team in the NFL, in my judgment, if Goff does as good as he's been. So I'm putting the Rams at number 1. I got the Niners at 2, like you said. Jimmy G, I like him. I think he does well there. Questions at running back, but that defense is solid. I like the Niners to be second in that division. Seahawks at 3, no more Legion of Boom. Too many questions at running back. In fact, I was just looking up their running back. They drafted 26th overall, Rashad Penny out of San Diego State. I like the dude. He's a class act. He's a good guy. And he had a great college career, but it's a matter of, is Rashad Penny the future, and the fact that, you're looking at starting a rookie running back. That's a scary thought. Loss of Jimmy Graham hurts him too. And like you said, Carolina, the Cardinals, they're in last for me, that division. I'm not going to go so far as put them as the worst team in the NFL. I think there are other teams that can take that honor. I think the Bucs could definitely take that honor. We're going to talk about them in a minute. I think the Bills, I think the Jets could take that honor as the worst team in the league. But I'll put them down there. Sam Bradford, the dude is always hurt. I like him when he plays, but, I'm never going to count the Cardinals out either, though, because they do have David Johnson and Fitzpatrick. Or Larry Fitzgerald, not Fitzpatrick, jeez. Larry Fitzgerald, I actually made fun of a dude last year for drafting Larry Fitzgerald in our fantasy league. His first overall receiver. And good Lord, Larry Fitzgerald made me eat my words on a weekly basis. That man can still catch the football like nobody's business. The Cardinals, the problem with them is the rest of their division's tough. The 49ers are good. Their defense is good. The Seahawks are beatable. But I don't think you're going to compete with the Rams, so I'm going to put the Seahawks in the cellar in a kind of division that I think the Rams just run away with. Let's move to the NFC South then. In that division, we got the Falcons, Saints, Panthers, and Bucks, and that's the order I have them in. I have the Falcons winning the division. I have the Saints in second and being one of my wild card teams. The Panthers in third, and the Bucks in the cellar, competing for one of the worst teams in the NFL. Falcons, I have them up high because I love their running back combo. That's right up there with that Tennessee 1-2 punch of Freeman and Coleman, and that's not just because Coleman went to Indiana, but it helps. They still have Matty Ice. Julio's holding out, but he'll be in. In fact, I think he just said they just got a long-term deal done, so Julio's back. Julio's Julio. It's bad when I'm looking for problems with teams, and the only thing I can find to put down in my notes is Austin Hooper the real deal at tight end? Like, if I'm questioning a team's tight end, something is like, okay, the rest of this team is just solid. They're just good. There's a reason they've been all the way the last couple years. They've been right there. They didn't make it as far last year, but I like them making it back. So they're my team out of the NFC South. I got the Saints next just because as long as Drew Brees is in the NFL, you can never count out a Saints team with Drew Brees. Their wide receivers, are they as good as they used to be? Again, questions at tight end. They have another sick running back combo of Kamara and Ingram. That is a disgusting running back tandem. And I love the way those two guys play. I think Kamara may take a step back this year. His rookie season, he was so explosive. And for the Saints, the defense is always a question. The Saints are going to put up a ton of points. Can their defense hold out? I think they can, but I think that puts them second in their division. Panthers, I love the defense. I love Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis, and I love all they do on that defense. That's a great defense. The big question for me is they signed Torrey Smith in the offseason, and this is a wide receiver core that's arguably one of the weaker ones in the NFL. And my question is an aging Torrey Smith the answer? Torrey Smith was great 4 or 5 years ago. He's good now. Is he a number one receiver? Do they want him to be a number one receiver? I love Cam Newton, Super Cam. The dude is a beast. I love watching him play. I just hope they protect him well enough that he gets to keep playing. I hope he doesn't get injured. He's a great player. I like Christian McCaffrey. I look forward to seeing him play a bigger role. And I think the Panthers are good. I think they could flip with the Saints there too, going 2-3. And then the bottom, man, I got the Bucks because Jameis Winston and all that he did. Now he's suspended, I think, for 3 or 4 games. Just deplorable what he's done. Absolutely no justification for it. And the problem is the Bucks kind of, in a way, are justifying it, and that's not. There's no place for that in the NFL. There's no place for that in society. And that's just abysmal to me. So I can't stand Jameis Winston. I don't wish any ill on him, but I just think that's a terrible situation. Running back questions for the Bucks. Rodgers right now, I don't know that he's the answer. They have good wide receivers, and I love their pick in the draft. Vita Vea, he's going to be a great impact player right off the bat, plug and play. But I just don't love the Bucks. I don't love the way their organization is handling the problems they're having, and just Jameis Winston in general. I don't think is handling this situation the way he should. I got the Bucks in the cellar, competing as one of the worst teams in the NFL.
All right, fair enough. I think I don't think I have the Falcons as high in my mind as you do. Okay. So I think they're solid. They're definitely they might probably be a wild card in my mind.
Okay.
I actually think the Panthers are going to have a good year. I just have a feeling things work out. Cam stays healthy the whole year. The wide receivers do their job. They don't have to be superstars. They just do their job. I agree. McCaffrey plays a bigger role. A lot of probably backfield screens, just simple plays to get him the ball in the field. I think the Saints are up there with them. They probably have the same record at the end of the year. Saints and Panthers. Probably 10 or 11 wins. Maybe 12 if things go really, really well. Mm-hmm. But the Saints are going to put up points, like you said. Every week, week in, week out, they're going to put up points. The Falcons, I don't know. It helps that Julio's back. I don't care who their tight end is. Like you said, if you're questioning them, they clearly don't have a lot of problems. I think the NFC South is the toughest division for me. I agree that the AFC South is a very good division. I think the NFC South is the most competitive division. The Bucks don't count, right?
Sure.
But I think the Falcons, Saints, and Panthers, they're going to have good years when it's all said and done. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be a good division, fun to watch. The Bucks, yeah, they're probably winning 3 or 4. They're just not going to do well. They don't deserve to do well. But for another day. NFC East, and then we'll wrap this up because, like we said, we don't even know what we're talking about. So NFC East, I have the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have a bounce back year. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott's back for a full season. He's also not a great human being, but he's playing and he's very good. So I think the Cowboys do very well. I think the Eagles continue to do well. They're my number 2. Carson Wentz is back. He'll be at full health. Hopefully gets to play the whole season. I mean, they adapted so well to Nick Foles and what he can and can't do. Clearly, they did very, very well adapting to that. But now they get to go back to what they were originally doing and what they want to do. So I think they do well. The Giants, I don't know. I guess they'll probably be fine. I don't think they're competing for the worst team in football. But they're certainly not competing for a playoff spot either. They probably 6, 7, 8 wins, somewhere in that range, maybe break even. And then the Redskins, they just gave away their number 1 asset. So, they don't have the team that they used to have. I know Kirk Cousins has moved. I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but I bet the Redskins are down there 4 to 6 wins. Cowboys and Eagles both get 10 to 12, but I think the Cowboys end up on top.
I'm just going to flip-flop the Eagles and Cowboys for the same reasons. It's hard to bet against the Super Bowl champs, so I'm putting them on top of the division. I do agree with you. I think them boys are coming back. They'll be better than ever next year. I wonder if Dak steps back a bit, but I still think the Cowboys are good enough to come in second in that division. The Giants, man, I'll be curious to see life after Eli and see what they do there, but that's another year or two down the road. They still have Beckham Jr., and, I mean, the dude is a beast. I love the Giants' pick of Saquon Barkley. That's a huge addition. Yeah. At running back, and Saquon Barkley, I think, can make a big impact. Dude got paid as well. And with the Redskins, I got them in last, like you said. I don't think Alex Smith they didn't trade in this way, but I don't think flopping your quarterbacks from Kirk Cousins to Alex Smith, I don't think that's a good flop. A flip-flop there at quarterback, I like Cousins more, and I think the Redskins are going to realize just how much Cousins led them to victories. So, let's talk about our final Super Bowl projections. We've already talked AFC. I got the Jags, you got the Patriots. From the NFC, I got the Rams. So I got Jags versus Rams in the Super Bowl.
I have Patriots-Rams. I think the Rams truly have an incredible year. When it's all said and done, I see the Rams coming out with big old rings on their fingers.
Oh, he's going to NFC this year. I can't give it to the NFC. I got to give it to Jacksonville. I gotta believe in that defense. I got to believe in Blake Bortles, and I got to believe that the AFC South shows that there are teams in the AFC not named Pittsburgh and New England, and that we can actually win some without Peyton Manning being on our team. You know, it's not just those two teams and then the Peyton Manning Broncos. I think the Jags come out of it, and I think the Jags win it and show up for a small market team, man. They bring some love to their owner and don't move to England. I think they pick up a lot of fans this year. So, Pat, any other final thoughts here?
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Like I'll say it again, don't make any bets based on any of our analysis. You will owe somebody money, for sure. But at this point, I think we have reasonable Super Bowl picks.
Yeah.
I think there are teams. There's 5 or 6 teams in this league right now that are clearly going to do better than the rest. There's a little bit of an imbalance here. I feel like the NFL overall has some challenges politically, perception-wise. You know, there's just a lot going on, and it doesn't help that it's actually not all that competitive until you get into the divisional rounds of the playoffs. So I hope that kind of changes moving forward, and maybe they need to move to a system like the NBA of Supermax and Max. And I mean, if the NBA has a ton of people just moving around for fun, I mean, that keeps the NBA interesting. Loyalty is gone, but it keeps it interesting nonetheless. And Johnny Football is actually going to play football again, right?
Yeah, in Canada. Oh my gosh.
Good for him. Good for Canada, I guess. They have something to talk about, something to watch.
So if you're needing your fix of football before the NFL season, go watch the CFL and maybe go watch Johnny Manziel play for the Alouettes because he just got traded there, and they've had quarterback issues, so he may actually start. Yeah, this is, like Pat said, this by no means constitutes expert opinions. In fact, it constitutes the exact opposite. What we encourage you to do is engage with us in dialogue. It's always fun to talk about the NFL and sports in general. We're not sports experts. We're just two guys talking football, and we would love to hear your comments, your thoughts. If you think I'm crazy the Jags are going all the way, tell me about it in the comments. If you think the Jags are winning 2 games, tell me more. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And we'll see how this NFL season shapes out. I think one thing is for sure, it's going to be an interesting year and a lot of fun to watch, I think, as it always is. So with anything left to say, I think this is going to be where we sign off. So thanks again for listening to the P&L IRL Podcast. The next topic we'll discuss in our social media. We don't have that set up just yet, but we'll be discussing the next topic in our social media post. So make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and join our Discord, especially if you want to have some input on the future topics and what we talk about going forward.